another video. You see, I'm on the road again as always, but I wanted to talk to you about something. So there was this incident that occurred in Daytona Beach, Florida, where there was a officer who was supposedly on some kind of proactive patrol, and it resulted in him getting shot in the head. There was a manhunt. I've been watching the news clips, the titles of the YouTube videos that the news station in Florida was doing, and I had a couple questions and I wanted to raise awareness about something. So within the last couple of weeks, people have been tagging me in videos where citizens' Fourth Amendment right protection have been violated in video after video, and it just sparked something in me to where I wanted to speak out about that. And I'm sorry if I'm going to be a little jump from one topic to another, because I want to get this video done before I talk myself out of it, because of course we're doing videos like this, you get the trolls, you get the evil people that come out and want to say mean things to you. Citizens who was involved in this, his name is Othal Wallace, and what occurred is that he was sitting out in front of his apartment or his residence when he was approached by this officer, and the officer, as the body cam video cuts on, he shines his LED flashlight into the vehicle, and at the time Mr. Wallace, steps out, he inquires what's going on, you know what I'm saying? But before we even get there, I want to take you back on these foot patrols. That's what I'm going to call it, a foot patrol. And as y'all know, I was in patrol for a number of years. Daytona Beach Police, they need to do better, because where do you go on a foot patrol by yourself? Unless you're like going into a grocery store to do a walkthrough or something like that, you never do a foot patrol by yourself. So what was he doing? What was this officer doing? So as you see, he approaches Mr. Wallace and begins making contact with him, not identifying himself, not the reason behind the contact, begins physical contact with Mr. Wallace. You don't do that. So once he realized that Mr. Wallace, what is going on, then that's when the officer wants to get on his radio and call out his location. That's not how you do it. There was something wrong with this, something all the way wrong, because when I would do a foot patrol or anything like that, or I'm making contact with someone, I'm going to give, before I even make contact with that person, if I could possibly help it, there was no exigent circumstances happening. He could have called that in, I'll be out at this location speaking with so-and-so and so, this. Before you make contact, like as a supervisor, I'm going to get on the radio. Okay, what do you have? Why are you making contact with this person? Okay, so then as the officer, he's tussling back and forth. What justification did he have putting hands on Mr. Wallace? I'm sorry, I must admit, being with local police, the academy, the in-house academies that they go to, they have zero clue. The training on the Fourth Amendment is so ass backwards. It's so terrible, because you will see all these Fourth Amendment violations. All you gotta do is go watch an episode of Cops, okay? And yeah, I was on an episode of Cops. My episode did not air, but go watch Cops, and you will see so many Fourth Amendment violations. And that's because when people go and join police departments, they mimic what they see on TV, and that's not what you do. They'll get issued a code book, they'll get issued some department policy, but mainly when it comes to the Fourth Amendment, they'll just go off what other officers say, what cheat sheet is there. Very, very rarely do you have someone who actually know what is right, what is wrong, what case law applies. So that's the biggest thing that stood out right there. Because you notice in the news article, they never said why this officer was making contact. They said, community patrol, whatever. No, it should not have ended with that, because I patrolled my communities. I knew who lived there. I knew who wasn't. I was able to articulate what was suspicious and what not. Okay, there's no Daytona Beach Police think to also hold some training on Terry v. Ohio. What justifies a Terry stop? What justifies reasonable suspicion, a detention, probable cause leading to an arrest? Okay, because I ain't seen none of that warrantless arrest, because This was straight terrible tactics. And it sucks to say it, because I know I'm gonna get a whole bunch of, you know, trolls coming to fuck with me. But when you do terrible tactics, okay, the officer closed the gap on Mr. Wallace. What happened to reactionary gap? What happened to your tactics? Okay, so he did everything stupid, and that's what happens. He got himself in that situation because it was him who made contact with Mr. Wallace, not the other way around. And that's what happens. So what it looks like right now, the body cam footage came out real quick, because what the police department, what the media was trying to do is get all of this emotion. Oh my gosh, this black man shot a police officer. No. This police officer went to go violate this man's Fourth Amendment right. They didn't have nothing on him, because as you hear in the charges, I could be wrong, but I didn't hear anything about a firearm by felon or nothing. I didn't hear any of that, okay? So this wasn't anything like that where they could normally place on people and, you know, get all this crap happening. But also too, during the press conference, the chief of police down there, and that was so funny. I was like, oh, look at their black chief of police, and you know, all the good old boys in the back. This is the classic. You know, our police department has no racism. Our police chief is black. That was funny. But they tried to paint this big scenario on Mr. Wallace. Oh, he was found in Atlanta. He was, you know, found in a tree house with an arsenal of weapons and boxes of ammunition. Okay, 50 rounds come in a box. Okay, all right. Come on now. Stop this. They're trying to paint this picture if he's so armed and dangerous. No, he wasn't a threat to me. He wasn't fucking with me. You know, he ain't fuck with nobody else. He was fucked with, okay? And that's what I'm going to say about that. I'm going to get the trolls to come in here and, you know, all this bullshit. I don't care. Let you know of a scenario. And this is why they paint this picture of, you know, all the officer, he's a hero, he's this, he's blah, blah, blah. No, he was acting outside of his powers. He violated it. He violated Mr. Wallace's Fourth Amendment right. He violated the trust in the community, okay? He ain't no hero. So keep your eyes peeled. Look at how they're painting this up, and it's absolutely wrong. There was a situation that, you know, I'm going to completely say that I made this situation up, okay? But I knew of some officers who would jump out on people, on cars. They would jump out, and most of the time they were plain clothes. So how we would know this on the radio is that they'll come on the radio and say their call sign, out speaking with 4 at so-and-so location. I have NCIC check by 4. So we'll hear that, and it's like, okay, they already made contact with the individuals, already done talked to them, got their identification before they called it in to dispatch, letting all the rest of the officers know what they're engaged in. So when we would talk about this, because I said, when you're making contact with somebody, you're going to be proactive. You're going to call it in first before you even make contact, because let's say you go out there and get your ass kicked or get shot in the face. You already called where your location is, because you can't say nothing else because you did some shit. What had happened was, this happened again, where these officers jumped out on a car. They were in plain clothes. Next thing I know, that one of the officers is on the radio screaming, officer down, and we're like, where the fuck you at? Because y'all kept doing this thing where y'all pull up on people, y'all be the jump out boys, and you know, that's what happened. They did some fucked up shit. That was fucked up. Unfortunately, you know, shit happens. And if you are so concerned about this job is so dangerous, I want to make it home at the end of the night, you don't have the right to put yourself in jackass situations and manipulate stuff to put yourself in danger, okay? He's out here on foot patrol by himself, okay? Why are you doing that? Second of all, going to go violate people's rights, touching them, violating, disregarding tactics about reactionary gap, tactical approach, none of that. He was out here being rogue. That's exactly does not go the public defender route, but he is innocent until proven guilty. I'm going to be on code, okay? Because they have that code when it was juvenile shooting at police not even 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm like, nope. Kyle Rittenhouse walking around, all that bullshit. And also, speaking of Kyle Rittenhouse, I saw this vinyl when I was riding through Middle Georgia. So I'm gonna put this up here. So when they do bad shit, they become heroes, okay? They become heroes and celebrated, okay? I'm gonna be on code. Mr. Wallace ain't fuck with nobody. Free Mr. Wallace. He ain't do nothing. And that's all I got to say about that. And before I forget, I was telling you about how I've been seeing people, you know, voluntarily give up their constitutional rights, their protections. So I'm going to show you 2 videos right now. What was it? 2 videos? Yeah, 2 videos real quick.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah.
Wow.
That's why there's so many of us here.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah,
are you freaking kidding me?
They said they showed a gun.
Wow, get that person right here, because I want to bring charges up to that person.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I want to bring charges. You can check my car. Are you kidding me? I don't even have a license to carry. Now that's got me very upset.
We're just gonna look.
Wow,
well,
you can go check the car.
You can be over my shoulder.
No, honey, you can check this car. Are you?
Hey, let's see your hands.
This body camera footage shows a Norman police officer pointing his gun at Stephen Ballmer as he's pumping gas in Norman.
Put your hands on your back. What did I do? We will tell you everything here in a second. Somebody called in on you.
A driver calling 911, saying someone in a red Suburban pulled a gun on him near 24th and Robinson.
So I sped away because I don't trust dumb people because he cut me off. And then I sped up to get it back over, and then he pulled a gun. It's a black guy, and he's in a newer red Chevy Suburban.
They cut me off out of the Carl's Jr., yet rolled their window down, called me and I didn't even say anything to him. Didn't give him a reaction. I just kind of chuckled at him, and they followed me for like 3 or 4 miles just until up there, and then now you guys are pulling me over.
Ballmer cuffed and put in the back seat of a police car.
If you guys need to search my truck, you can. There's no firearm. I don't have a gun. I don't carry a gun.
Police searched the Suburban and found no weapon. Police not able to track the driver down.
It seems like this is a let's get the police to mess with him thing, because now they're not even answering their phones.
Ballmer was let go. Police shaking his hand and saying this.
I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. I hope your baby day gets better.
Okay, in this first video, apparently there was a black woman and someone anonymously called the police to say that she was brandishing a shotgun, or in possession of a firearm. And that's the shit right there, because police officers should know, and they don't use this good goddamn sense. But anybody can call the police on somebody. People, called the police on me before and made up bullshit. So people can call the police and lie on somebody and say whatever just to get the police to come out there and fuck with that person. But the woman, she had nothing to hide. She had nothing to hide. But I can understand her position. She's outnumbered. She's by herself, and it's hit her by surprise. The second one you saw, another one, a black man, he was in his car, and he was in a road rage incident where he was the victim, and the person in the other car called the police anonymously and said that he had a firearm, which resulted in the officers detaining him in handcuffs at a gas station. Now, here's the thing. When officers hear firearm, it's like, oh, we get the action, let's go, we get the action. Negative. Use good goddamn sense, because if you have an anonymous complaint, this was not something that was committed in your presence, so you can't do shit, okay? You could have made contact with him, or just look for the vehicle, but there was not enough information, not even a complaint to detain him. That was an illegal detention. And then the other one, because she was pressured, and I'm not an attorney or a paid attorney spokesperson, but I'm just saying that was real. It possibly could be in the realm of illegal search and seizure, but because she was coerced and she had pressure and she felt as though she was not free to leave, the consent, because they didn't have it, they applied the pressure for her to give them consent to search her in her vehicle, to identify her, to link her name to this call for service, so I want y'all to really start paying attention to how your 4th Amendment right is being violated, okay? That's all I really really got to say about that. Like I said, I just had to get off my chest because I'm getting to a point where I'm like, you know what, I don't want to talk about it, and I apologize because a lot of stuff, you know, I get really involved in, and you know, it just brings up some things, some emotions that, you know, I try to process and you know, stuff like that. But it'll be absolutely wrong to stay quiet when I see